Mighty Mouse versus Moraes. So the first time Moraes facing Mighty Mouse gives Mighty Mouse his first KO loss of his career. Moraes, huge for flyweight, right?
Yeah.
Huge for flyweight.
Flyweight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're
That's the
both
other
weighing in
thing.
at 135 pounds, right?
Allegedly. That's the thing about OneFC is like the production's great, but like
Oh, yeah.
they're so shady. Right before this, they're like, well, Moraes missed weight and failed the hydration test because they do the hydration testing. That's why
Yeah.
flyweight is 135, right? It's not 125 like the UFC.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he missed weight and the hydration test. He's got 5 hours. And it's like, wait, so you're telling me he has to lose more weight, but also
Yeah,
rehydrate
let's.
more? And then 5 hours later, they're like, yeah, he's good. We're all good. None of it's not shown publicly ever. No numbers are really ever released. It's not on
Yeah.
camera. You just have to kind of take their word for it. And at the end of the day, who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because,
Let it fly.
if there's anybody that should care more than anybody else, it should be Demetrius Johnson. It should be DJ, Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
He's the one that should be upset. And if he's not, and he's still walking in there ready to throw down, then let me watch. I'll watch.
Dude,
I don't care.
You know the even crazier thing about it is
What?
Matt Hume, the guy who mentored Demetrius
Yeah.
throughout his career, he's in charge of like the hydration level testing and stuff for ONE FC. So
I
it's
love
like,
it.
if Matt Hume's signing off on it, let's go.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
But yes, Morai is huge, man. Huge.
Massive.
And that's one of the very first things that I noticed. And then we get into the fight. By the way, just absolutely ripped. Both Demetrius and Moraes.
That's what happens when there's no testing.
Absolutely ripped.
You
And
saw the who. What a who. You know what I mean?
but one thing that I absolutely loved from Mighty Mouse in this fight was the way that he was constantly switching stances.
So got on the win.
He didn't stay in one stance for more than 5 seconds at a time, and it all depended on what Moraes threw his way. Moraes starts circling to his left, then DJ would go. Yep, he would stand in orthodox and hit him with a calf kick. He'd start circling to his right. He'd go to southpaw and hit him with the body kick. And he did the exact same thing over and over again for that first round. And it took a while for Moraes to kind of start making that read, which for me was kind of surprising. But I thought that the way he was just constantly changing was amazing.
It's crazy, too, because, like, the first fight, obviously, Moraes KO'd him with a knee, right, to the grounded opponent. New rule. It was, like, the day before Mighty Mouse was talking about how, I think it was the Piotr Jan Aljamain Sterling fight that happened around the same time, and Piotr Jan kneed Aljamain Sterling, and Demetrius was like, that's why we have knees to the ground opponents in one. It's way better. And then that weekend he gets KO'd by a knee, right? So big deal, right? Mighty Mouse hadn't been knocked out like that. So it's like, how's he going to come out in this fight? And I think the fact that he fought Rodtang in between these two fights was massive because, I mean, he dealt with Rodtang, who's supposed to be this tank running through people, right? And he dealt with him. So he comes out in this fight and he's like, if you would have told me that Moraes had knocked out Mighty Mouse and I didn't know, I'd be like, wow, Mighty Mouse is kind of crazy for going at him like this. Because that first round, he was putting it on him. The pressure was crazy. And it's like, this guy just KO'd you, man. Like, maybe, take a back seat a little bit and, get a feeling out process. Because he was in his face. He's putting his hands behind his back. All this shit that's, really makes you realize how stupid.
Stood there and, reached out to him and froze for a second. Yeah. I was like, oh, what?
You're like, dude, Dana, we traded Ben Askren for this? What are we doing? Oh, man, people just don't want to watch these guys. They're not marketable. And meanwhile, this guy's like
I will say this. This is the most entertaining DJ I've seen in a long time. And, Rich, if we can keep this picture up for a while here. But I thought that he was very entertaining. A little bit of showboating in there. He was being very aggressive, like you said. But I think that might be part of the difference between the first fight and the second fight was that he tried to keep Moraes on his back foot as much as possible. And he kept on pressing. And if you notice, he sat back a little bit more in the second. And especially when they were trading, he was allowing himself to get pushed back to the cage a little bit more. And that's when Moraes started tagging him. He hit him with that head kick, and DJ got wobbled.
He got wobbled. Yeah, he got wobbled.
But he handled it very well, and then I believe he went for a double leg. Wasn't successful. Moraes ended up sprawling. And, Moraes kept some top control a little bit in the first round, quite a bit in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, it's OneFC, so you don't score it by round, but it's hard not to while you're watching it. And I had Mighty Mouse winning the first round despite being off his back because, dude, he beat the brakes off of him off his
He cut him
back.
up. He cut him
Yeah,
up.
there's that one elbow in like a modified half guard almost where he throws the elbow up, splits him open over the eyebrow. At the start of the second round, Moraes' left eye is like swollen, and then his other eye has a massive cut on it, and it's like this guy was the guy on top the whole fight, for the whole round. So that was cool. Second round, Moraes' top game, very good. So I had it like round apiece going into the third, but that's when I kind of started to realize like Mighty Mouse was starting to impose his will a little bit in that third round. Moraes looked like he was starting to slow down a little bit, I think because of all the pressure, because he's such a movement-based fighter, he's always all over the place, and he's very good at that. But when he's just pressuring him, it's hard to maintain that. So I think he started to kind of slow down, and that's where Mighty Mouse started setting up traps like crazy, man. You talk about the switching stances. He kept landing. He kept going to orthodox, and he landed that lead left hook a bunch, and then instead of switching stances to throw it, he would start shifting to throw it where it's mid combo, and then he's out in southpaw. But then also he would start to switch stances, and instead of throwing the left hook, he would step in with his left leg like he's going to go through a body kick, but then he'd drop it. And every time he would do that, Moraes starts countering with the left hook of his own. And then he kept stepping over like, oh, I'm going to kick it. No, I'm not. And then the left hook would come out. And he's getting that reaction over and over again. And then finally, he steps over, lifts that left leg, the lead leg now. Moraes throws the left hook. He dips it, and then shifts again to throw that right hand, which is this one right here, I think.
And in the background, because the video is a second delayed, right? That they're showing. So you see him ducking
dodging the left hook.
under. Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. This is why I love this shot. So you see him dodging it, and then you see the aftermath there from the right hook. But dude, it was just a beautiful performance.
Beautiful.
I wonder what shot it was that really, really got to Moraes, because in that third round, he was reacting so heavily to every feint that DJ was throwing.
Dude, so I think at that point, it wasn't necessarily just because he got hit with something big. I think it was also just because, like you said, Demetrious would switch stances to the leg kick, switch stance to the body kick, switch stance to the lead left hook. So he just kept
always attacking.
You have to anticipate something, but then at a certain point, you're like frozen by the anticipation. And not only that, Mighty Mouse mixed it up so well that he doesn't really know what's coming. So then when he started lifting that leg, he's like, I know the counter for that. Catch him while he's off balance with his left hook. And then Mighty Mouse is like, perfect. You're going to keep going to that well. Here's this.
Yeah.
Hits him with the right. And then the finale, the shot that put him away. Yep. He hits him with his right hand. Moraes is stumbling back. He's hurt. And Mighty Mouse is just like miming him almost. It's walking him down. And like he's like, what shot am I going to land? How am I going to land this? And then as soon as he gets up to the cage, he jumps up, throws the left knee, and then murdered him. The way he fell after that, I was like, holy shit. The fact that he finished, and the fact that he finished it with a knee. These guys are 1-1 against each other with a knee knockouts. Like that's fucking crazy. That's some movies. Like that's movie stuff.
The calculated finish was so impressive.
It's crazy, man.
Because a lot of times you see a fighter wobble like that, and the first instinct for the fighter is like, let me rush him. Let me throw my left, right, see if I can land a shot. Yeah, that can put him out. And instead, just super calculated, waiting, boom. And the way that Moraes collapses afterwards, just collapses. It was a thing of beauty, man. And I wasn't the biggest DJ fan while he was in the UFC, right? I didn't know how much of it was him being that good and how much of it was just the level of competition at the time that he was in his reign. Maybe it was a combination of the two. I don't know. And in the fights when I was watching weren't the most exciting fights. I mean, he had an exciting fight against like Elliott when he was in some danger too.
And that Ray Borg fight where he got him with the slam armbar.
Yeah. But man, watching this, and it's just such a good reminder for me of just how good Demetrius Johnson
Yeah.
is. There's a lot of people that regard this guy as the GOAT.
It's for me. It's there's three people that you can even consider, and Mighty Mouse is one of those three. So, yeah, I mean,
Who else?
you can still
Who else?
GSP, John Jones. John Jones is the tough one because of the drug tests. You could also throw Fedor in there.
Picograms.
Yeah, picograms. You can throw Fedor in there, but the difference between all of them is, I mean, Mighty Mouse was cutting through that line the same time GSP and John Jones were, and what are they doing now? Are they avenging losses with finishes? Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, Mighty Mouse is still doing it, dude. He's still doing it.
It's nuts. 36 years old, right? And
yeah.
So we're talking about the production and the dramatic music that came on after you won. But then I sent you a couple pictures.
Yeah.
And these shots gave me chills where he's standing there with the belt.
Yeah.
He's looking up at the sky, confetti falling down in the background. And you just see him looking around, and then he looks at the camera and like points at the camera. I'm like, oh my, dude, I'm getting chills right now. You can't see this, dude. I got goosebumps going down my arms. But just such amazing shots. And it just
really
made
cool.
you like, oh my God. Like you said, it made it feel like you're watching a movie.
Yeah, and it makes the belts like that much more like important. Like it makes like the belts seem like, man, you just achieved something massive. Like the music's going crazy, there's gold confetti flying all over the place, and you're like, damn, dude. And how about when Chatri puts the belt on, he like pretends like he's gonna fall,
like it's too heavy. Dude,
so
it's just it was a fantastic main event, man. And hey, so for any viewers that are joining us right now, live on YouTube, feel free to kind of throw in some comments, whether it's your last memory of Mighty Mouse and UFC. If you did watch the event last night, what were your thoughts of the event? But we'd love to hear from anybody watching right now. But yeah, that's all I have on the main event, man. Do you have anything else?
Not really. I'm sure they'll do the trilogy now.
It's got to be, right?
You got to do the rubber match. The coolest thing too about this OneFC is you don't really have like the trash talking in OneFC that you do in the UFC. It's like part of their whole thing is like respect, right? There's a video of Chatri just tossing a belt to Nong O instead of putting it on him after a fight because he like celebrated too recklessly after the fight. So like they're like very much like a respect thing, right? To the point where in between fights they show like there's always a highlight reel, but it's instead of finishes, it's like
10 respectful moments.
Top 10, yeah, it's like a big thing with OneFC, right? So like it's very cool to see when Mighty Mouse got knocked out by Moraes. Immediately once he's back with us, he's like congratulating him, thanking him, all this stuff. And this one, same thing. Moraes, I mean, after he came back over to Moraes, and Moraes was sitting on the ground with his trainers and stuff, and he hugs them. They like exchange a bunch of words, and like they shake hands at the end. Like just seeing that respect after two guys violently knocked each other out with knees, like very cool.
Very cool. And I love that the ref, the boss Cos, right? That's
he's great.
He's up fantastic.
Olivier, the boss Cost.
Usually, fighter going up after another fighter has recently been knocked out, they usually shove him away and say, "Hey, not right now, right?" In this case, he looks at DJ, he's like, "All good," and he's like, "Yeah, all good." And he goes down there, and they gave him some time together, right? Which was Moraes concussed? Maybe,
probably.
Did he know where he was? Probably not.
Yeah,
but he recognized DJ, and they exchanged some nice words, which was pretty cool to see. But dude, I was expecting when the camera was on Moraes to see Joe Rogan sit next to him already holding the mic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? While he's sitting up against the cage. But man, it was an amazing main event. So
yeah, the only thing that I wish I forgot the guy Brent Stover. Not bad as a commentator, but they had Michael
Great Value Conan O'Brien I was telling you about.
Yeah, but they had Michael Chiavello there, and I know some people don't like Michael Chiavello, but I like him. And he was there, and they every at the end of every round, or like every so often, they'd be like, "Michael Chiavello, what are you seeing?" Blah blah blah, and he would just immediately start hyping up the fight that much more, and it gets that much more intense. And it's like, man, why is he not on the broadcast full time right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's because they're on Prime and they wanted something more like traditional, because I don't think he's very traditional, right? He's pretty nuts. He goes
Yeah.
hard, but like, God, this fight would have been that much bigger with him.
Even the
I think he
announcers
does
said
a
they're
good job.
like, anytime Chappelle comes on, the fight gets that much better or something like that. And I was
Yeah, I
like,
mean, dude, he just hypes it up hard, dude. So like, it was kind of a bummer. The 160 card from the morning, he was the play-by-play guy, and for some reason I thought for sure they'd have him on this one too, and they just would pull him in randomly and stuff. But I wish he was a mainstay on this one.
yeah, it was good though.
Maybe Amazon did that guy. I don't know.
maybe. Hey everybody, Romero and Will here. Thank you so much for watching that short clip. It's just a small clip of what we covered this last Sunday.
Yeah, if you want to check out the full fight card recap, the link is in the description, and it's going to be on screen at the end here. Don't forget to go back and watch our fighter interviews that we have. And don't forget to tune in live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and you can join in on the fun.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It goes a long way. All right, everybody, thanks for watching that short clip from Story of the Fight.